Good morning. Welcome to Reading the Science of Mind, a Philosophy of Faith, a Way of Life in 1 year. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the Center for Spiritual Living Common Ground in Central Maryland. Today is January 11th. And this morning we are reading from pages 35, paragraph 1 through page 37, paragraph 1. The way it works. The science of mind is not a special revelation of any individual. It is, rather, the culmination of all revelations. We take the good wherever we find it, making it our own insofar as we understand it. The realization that good is universal, and that as much good as any individual is able to incorporate into their life is theirs to use, is what constitutes the science of mind and spirit. We have discussed the nature of the thing as being universal energy, mind, intelligence, spirit finding conscious, and individualized centers of expression through us, and that humans' intelligence is the universal mind functioning at the level of humans' concept of it. This is the essence of the whole teaching. Universal mind or spirit is God. There is a universal mind, spirit, intelligence that is the origin of everything. It is first cause, which is synonymous with substance. Okay, what the thing is made out of. It is God. This universal life and energy finds an outlet in and through all that is energized and through everything that lives. There is one life back of everything that lives. There is one energy back of all that is energized. This energy is in everything. There is one spirit back of all expression. That is the meaning of that mystical saying, "In Him we live and move and have our being." And that comes from the book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 28. The life which we live is the universal life expressing through us. Else, how could we live? Our thought and emotion is the use we make, consciously or unconsciously, of this original creative thing that is the cause of everything. Therefore, we shall say that the mind, spirit, and intelligence which we find in ourselves is as much of the original creative God as we understand. That is not robbing God of self-evident. Let me start back there with that. That this is not robbing God is a self-evident fact. Since we are, then we are real and actual and have existence. And since we can deduce all that is a fundamental unit, we find that we have this proposition. There is spirit, or this invisible cause, and nothing out of which all things are to be made. Now, spirit plus nothing leaves only spirit. Hence, there is one original cause and nothing out of which we are made. In other words, we are made from this thing. It is the substance of us. That is why we are called the Son of God, the children of God, the image and likeness of God, if you will. We now know that this is what we are, because we cannot be anything else. But we do not know how much of this we are. When we see it as it is, then we shall see ourselves as we are. We can only see it by looking at it through our own eyes. Hence, we shall find a better God when we shall have arrived at a higher standard for humanity, for ourselves. If God is to interpret itself to humanity, it must interpret itself through humanity. And the Spirit can make no gift that we do not accept. I'm going to pause there. When we really begin to grasp that we're made out of it, by it, that we are it individualized in form, we can begin to scratch the surface of understanding. But as long as we limit our thinking to human behavior, to how humans show up, how we show up, how somebody else shows up, we keep ourselves stuck in the limitation of conditions. It's that place where practitioners and ministers and many lay people do the work to do the study, to learn to see beyond the human form to what lives, moves, and has its being at the core of creation, the essence of us. And that takes us to the seed of perfection is hidden within. This original life is infinite. It is good. It is filled with peace. It is the essence of purity. It is the ultimate of intelligence. It is power. It is law. It is life. It is us. In that inner sanctuary of our own nature, hidden perhaps from objective gaze, nestles the seed of perfection. In our ignorance of the truth, we have misused the highest power we possess. And so great is this power, so complete is our freedom in it, so absolute the domain of law through it, that the misuse of this power has brought us the very conditions from which we suffer. We are bound because we are first free. The power which appears to bind us is the only power in the universe which can free us. This is why Jesus summed up his whole philosophy in this simple statement: "It is done unto you as you believe." The great teacher looked so deeply into nature that she revealed her fundamental simplicity to him. That believe and that as symbolize heaven and hell. And so we suffer, not because suffering is imposed upon us, but because we are ignorant of our true nature. And so we get to sit with that, to be with that, to begin to bring it all together. You know, we've talked so far this year, scratching the surface of understanding that thoughts are things, that thought is the activity of moving consciousness, responded upon by law, made manifest into things. And so when we focus, when we believe that we are the conditions of humanity, the behavior of humanity, the limitations of humanity, then that's all we get to experience. And it's our choice to believe that. And that's where a lot of us hit a brick wall and hit a place of argument. Because our brain is like, well, I am human. Yes, and we are very human, and we are so much more. Because our humanity, our physical being, is an animation of the whole of creation. Whether we call it God, Spirit, the great mystery, the quantum field, energy, life, whatever name we put on it, it's beyond the name. Right? We are the infinite expressing a desire to know itself in the form and activity of us. And everything that it is lives, moves, and has its being in, through, and as us. And the linchpin is understanding that we can only experience as much of it as we understand. Because understanding moves the needle on those limitations. It begins to free us from the restriction of the limitations of condition. And I invite you to play with this, not as a right and wrong, as a good and bad, as a positive or negative, but simply as just what it is. Right? It just is what it is. So with that, I'm going to invite you to join me in a 5-minute meditation practice. We're just going to go into a period of quiet contemplation. There's a little bit of music in the background. And just to be present with whatever comes. To not try to make anything happen. To not try to prevent anything from happening. But just be present with and notice what comes up. Here we go. One. One life. This life is God, breath, peace, power, substance, consciousness, the quantum field. Breath, it is everywhere present. It is the substance of all. Self-existent, meaning it was never created out of anything. It simply has always been. It exists within itself, and all that it creates contains it and exists within it. And I, being of form, being alive, must be an animation of the life of this infinite one. A whole, complete, and perfect pattern of an idea of the infinite's desire to express and experience itself as this life that I am living. Empowered with choice, with free will, to journey back to an understanding of the truth of my being, and as I do, to fully immerse myself, to fully choose how to move consciousness, to express desires that are alive within me. And what is true of me is true of all life. And so I claim and affirm that we are each individualized expressions of this one awakening to a greater and greater and greater understanding of the truth of our being. That we are no longer fooled by the limitations of condition, that we are not fooled by the patterns and habits of humanity. That's all there is. And rather we dive beneath the surface to that recognition of the divine self that is the self of all. Moving our thinking and our energy into alignment with the substance of us, the source of us. Knowing that as we do, thought is healed, beliefs are healed, and it is done unto us as we increasingly believe in recognition of what we are. And as we manifest that higher, deeper, more complete understanding of the essence of being, all of life is enhanced and healed by it. That what heals in one place must heal in every place, because there's only one place. There's only one cause, one source, one substance, one time, the eternal now. And so I simply own it, claim it. And as quickly as I do, law acts upon it. And it is done. It is made manifest, and so I continue to align my vibration with the vibration of what has already been made manifest in law, bringing it into awareness. Receiving it. Believing that it is already done, I open to receive it. I open to be it. And so as I open more fully, I release any argument that arises in that conditioned thinking. I release any fear, I release any doubt that comes into temporary awareness. I recognize it as conditioned thinking of limitation, and I let it go. I let it go. I let it go. And so recognizing that everything spoken is mind moving itself into being the word of the infinite, which is my word. I release my word. I let it go by letting any restrictive thoughts about it go. And I claim it as done. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.
Thank you.